Welcome all to the 15th Annual Posada for Immigration Reform. We come together this Advent season during a challenging and extraordinary time. I pray that you, your family, and communities are healthy and safe during this pandemic. As a pilgrim people traveling on a journey this Advent 2020, we revisit the wonderful tradition of Las Posadas. The Posada walks in the footsteps of Mary, pregnant with the hope of the world, and Joseph, faithful spouse and soon-to-be protector as the earthly father of Jesus. They are seeking shelter in the little town of Bethlehem, Joseph's ancestral home. With the Posada, we take up this journey and draw near to this Holy Father and this loving Mother, burdened by fears and uncertainties, yet filled with expectation at the birth of their child. When we do so, we discover that we also draw near to our immigrant sisters and brothers who are searching for shelter, a place to call home, a place of welcome and inclusion. Accompanying these holy families, we come to know that they have the same longings that we do for family unity without the threat of separation and deportation, for safety and security, for freedom from discrimination. And they, like each of us, suffer today from the pandemic of a virus, but they also suffer from the pandemic of apathy, hatred, and prejudice, as they hear the world say again and again, "We have no room in the inn." This year's Posada marks 15 years on the journey for immigration reform. For 15 years, we with these holy families have been knocking on the door again and again. The delay in justice for immigrants cannot discourage us, but should embolden us to renew the commitment the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops made in 2005 to accompany our sisters and brothers until there is a place where they can freely pursue, develop, and ultimately share their unique and special God-given gifts with their families, their friends, and this entire nation, which has been so blessed by immigrants from its inception. Thank you for renewing this commitment to journey with them. And thank you, especially to our immigrant sisters and brothers, for your perseverance has reminded us that the Holy Family is indeed in our midst, knocking on our door. Let them hear us say today, "Yes, come in. We have room in the inn." May God bless you all.
Juntos como hermanos, miembros de una iglesia, vamos caminando al encuentro del Señor. Juntos como hermanos, miembros de una iglesia, vamos caminando al encuentro del Señor. El Señor esté con todos ustedes.
Y con tu espíritu.
Lectura del Santo Evangelio según San Lucas. Gloria a ti, Señor. In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that the whole world should be enrolled. This was the first enrollment when Quirinius was governor of Syria. So all went to be enrolled, each to their own town. And Joseph too went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and the family of David, to be enrolled with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. While they were there, the time came for her to have her child, and she gave birth to her firstborn son. She wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn. Now there were shepherds in that region living in the fields and keeping the night watch over their flock. The angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord shone all around them, and they were struck with great fear. Then the angel said to them, "Do not be afraid, for I proclaim to you good news of great joy that will be for all the people. And this will be the sign for you. You will find an infant wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger." And suddenly there was with the multitude of the heavenly hosts, praising God, saying, "Gloria in excelsis Deo, Gloria in excelsis Deo." When the angels went away from them to heaven, the shepherds said to one another, "Let us go then to Bethlehem to see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us." So they went in haste, and they found Mary and Joseph and the infant lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known the message that had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed by what had been told them by the shepherds. And Mary kept all these things, reflecting on them in her heart. Then the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all they had heard and seen, just as it had been told to them. Palabra del Señor. Gloria a ti, Señor Jesús. O come, all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. O come ye to Bethlehem. Come and behold him, born the King of angels. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him. O come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. En el nombre del cielo os pido posada, pues no puede andar mi esposa amada. Aquí no es mesón, sigan adelante, yo no debo abrir, no sea algún tunante, no sean inhumanos, tengan caridad, que los Dios de los cielos se los premiará. Ya se pueden ir y no molestar, porque si me enfado, los voy a paliar.
In the name of heaven, I'm not a criminal. You say I broke the law, but it's the law that is broken. When families are separated, when we are asked to wait 10, 15, or 20 years to be reunited with our loved ones already living here, something is broken. No es justo que seamos separados de nuestros seres queridos. I know there are laws to determine who enters this country and under what conditions. But there are greater laws, like God's law, that says every human being has the inherent right to a dignified life. Then there is a natural law that instinctively mandates a parent to provide for his or her children. Solo queremos dar a nuestros hijos una vida con dignidad. There must be a better solution than imprisonment, especially when we are of no threat to this country.
The law is the law. And when it's not followed, the guilty have to pay. Our citizens deserve to be protected from people we don't know. We don't know if you are a terrorist or a danger to our neighbors. This is our country of laws, and it's our job to uphold them. You should have thought of the consequences before deciding to enter into our country, before coming an illegal.
Venimos cansados desde Nazaret. Yo soy carpintero de nombre José. No me importa el nombre, déjenme dormir, porque yo les dije que no he de abrir.
Don't you understand? I was just a child. I was so happy because my mother said we will finally be reunited with my father after so many years. Once we were reunited and living in the US, my parents told me to study hard, que le echará ganas al estudio. They said they will be the door to many more opportunities than they ever had. Don't you see? I want to make my parents proud. I want to be somebody and do great things for others. I want to live in my country, the only country I've ever known. Ya se me vencerá el permiso de trabajo y ahora otra vez a solicitar. Yo no puedo estar en esta situación y nadie me entiende.
We understand and we want to help. Many of us are willing. DePaul, Dominican, Loyola, and others. But our resources are limited, and there are laws we must follow. We would love to have a student like you at our university, but we just don't have enough scholarships, and there are so many others who need assistance too. Perhaps you can try a community college. They're more affordable. Believe me, I want to help you, but I can't. Good luck.
Posada te pido, amado casero, por solo una noche, la reina del cielo. Pues si es una reina, quien lo solicita, ¿cómo es que de noche anda tan solita? Mi esposo es María, es reina del cielo y madre va a ser del divino verbo. Eres tú, José, tu esposo es María. Entren peregrinos, no los conocía.
We have come a long way. We have all our papers in order. How can you tell me after all these years in waiting that we cannot adjust our status? Why must we leave the country? For how many years? I have a job, my children, my home, and I am part of the fabric of my community. Mi familia y mi comunidad dependen de mí. No los puedo dejar por tantos meses y sin saber si voy a calificar. Why? Why? You say wait for immigration reform. I cannot wait. Mr. President and Mr. Speaker of the House, Surely there is something you can do.
You need to wait in line like all other immigrants. There is a process you must follow. We need to know who you are and that you will not be a burden on our economy. Besides, we have a limited number of visas, and we have so many people waiting to enter our country legally. Perhaps you can appeal. Contact your attorney. Fill out these forms. Maybe your congressman can help. We are overburdened. You have to wait. Processing visas takes time. Resources and a bigger budget are needed. We're waiting for Congress to act. Next in line, please.
En el nombre del cielo, os pido posada, pues no puede andar mi esposa amada. Dichosa la casa que alberga este día, y la Virgen pura, la hermosa María.
It's no use. Estamos rendidos. Quizás tienen razón. No tenemos derecho a estar en este país. Somos una carga. Ni inglés he podido yo aprender. Sería mejor regresarme a mi país. Perhaps it's time to cut our losses and return to our country.
Do not despair. We stand in solidarity with you, our migrant sisters and brothers, and we continue to advocate on your behalf for just and fair migration policies. The bishops of both Mexico and the United States and the entire church are committed to animate communities of Christ's disciples on both sides of the borders, to accompany you on your journey so that yours will truly be a journey of hope, not of despair, and so not that at the point of arrival you will experience that you are strangers no longer, and instead members of God's household.
Entren santos peregrinos, peregrinos, vendrán este rincón, aunque sobre la morada, se les doy de corazón. Cantemos con alegría, alegría, todos al considerar que Jesús, José, María y María nos vinieron hoy a honrar. Bienvenidos.